The road to the 2026 Winter Games is well underway, built on years of preparation, risk, and precision. And today we're joined by two Olympic hopefuls, Karina Elliott and Chris Lillis, who are working their way to Milan Cortina. Lake Placid is a premier site for professional athletes in the U.S. with a rich Olympic history. The village hosted the Olympics in 1932 and 1980, the year of the famous Miracle on Ice. But it's also one of the few Olympic sites that has the resources to host almost every international winter sport federation. And this year, a last-minute change made Lake Placid the site of the World Cup finals for the freestyle aerial competition. The event was supposed to happen in Park City, Utah, but was forced to move because of their unseasonably warm weather. And with the final qualifying competition taking place in Lake Placid, it means Olympic athletes will stay and practice here until they go to Italy. It's a familiar training ground for Chris Lillis and Karina Elliott, who've both trained and lived in the village during their early careers. I wanted to start with you because you're chasing a really big dream, lifelong goal, trying to get to Milan Cortina. I would imagine that there's a moment when that stops being a dream and then that sort of turns into some sort of an expectation.
Yeah,
when did
for
qualifying for the 2026 games stop feeling like a dream and become that expectation for you?
Probably 2 years ago. Up until that time, it was definitely a dream because I was like, I'm just out here trying to, get better every day. And then I made my first super finals and I won that World Cup and I was like, oh, wow, okay, I could actually do this.
So what's the journey been like in terms of that training since then?
Over the last couple of years, it's been it's been great since then and then into the next season. It was really fun. My training was going really well and my competition was just on fire. My mind was where it's supposed to be and I was making top 6 rounds pretty much every competition. So it was really great. Unfortunately, at the end of last season though, I tore my ACL, and so after starting in March, I was just doing knee rehab up until 2 weeks ago. My warm-up's a lot longer now. I think my warm-up used to be maybe, 20 minutes. Now it's more like an hour. So warm-up takes me a while, and I think speed checking around the site has been a little bit different too, because I'm kind of like feeling out my knee as well versus just checking the speed.
When it comes to the sport itself, obviously it comes down to just a few seconds in the air, but there is years of work behind. What's your mental focus in the seconds before that takeoff?
There's years of training going into it, and I feel like aerials is kind of unfair in that sense because you have years of training but only a few seconds to really prove yourself. And so qualifying is pretty hard getting to the final round because you're like, all right, here's my 3 seconds, here's my shot. So I've done a lot of sports psychology to help with that and help me not let that jump go by quickly. So right before I go, I'm trying to think of what I need to do, what I want to do on my takeoff, and I really like to tell myself to be calm in the air, because if I'm anxious and rushed to get those 3 seconds done, then I'm just going to screw it up or not do what I'm trying to do.
We know that not every jump can be perfect.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't necessarily click or you didn't maybe have the takeoff that you wanted, how do you reset and kind of move forward?
If you don't hit your takeoff or you do something a little bit off, you can always fix it in the air, especially on double and triple, because you have that time. 2 to 3 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but you can do a lot in the air to try to fix yourself. So there's always little things that you can do to help yourself and try to focus on landing.
What does training in Lake Placid give you that maybe you may not find necessarily somewhere else at a different mountain peak or a different site?
For me, it's the energy, I think, between all the people and the excitement. Family and friends are here, so I think it's just the energy, good vibes that give me a little bit of a boost. I think being in different countries, it's fun for sure, but it's kind of foreign, a little unsure. So being here, it's just very comfortable, exciting, and just having a fun time.
And being that we are here in Lake Placid, the site of the Miracle on Ice, again, there's a lot of history there, a lot of good energy as we continue that countdown to Milan Cortina. Obviously, the work happens way before those spotlights turn on, especially with what we're seeing here today. If everything does come together for you in 2026, what do you want people to remember most about the journey that it was to get there? What do you want people to know about you?
I think for me, the journey that I had a huge adversity to get here with my knee, because going through knee surgery in April was not ideal. It was super late in the season, And throughout the whole process, I was told multiple times it's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to ski at all this year. And I was told straight to my face, I'm not going to the Olympics. And so I think just knowing that I went through those really tough times and had to consider maybe it's not going to work out, maybe I should stop skiing. But now I came back and I'm here and put in the work, and hopefully it works out.
While Corinna is bracing herself for a shot to make Team USA, New York native Chris Lillis says he is ready for his second shot at the Olympics. The gold medalist is no stranger to the pressure, but back on home terrain, he says there's nothing stopping him. We were talking earlier, and you mentioned that, this is somewhat of a homecoming for you. You're very familiar with the terrain and the area. Tell me a little bit about that.
I love Lake Placid. I've been coming up here since I was 9 years old. I'm 27 now, so that's like 18 years, which is weird for me to think about as a competitive skier. But lived here from when I was 13 to 17, and I'd say Lake Placid really fostered my development years of me being an aerial skier. Then we started moving to World Cups and get to come back here every year and compete in World Cup competitions and hopefully put down a nice jump, get on the podium in front of the hometown crowd.
What's different about this push towards the 2026 games compared to previous seasons?
I guess the only thing that I would say is different as far as from a veteran perspective is just I know what I'm in for. The goals don't change. There is an extremely high level of competition, and I got to be at my best if I want to make that happen. And so really the only thing that changes as you grow and as you go to your second Olympics, this is my third try to go to the Olympics and hopefully will be my second Olympic berth, but is that I know what I'm in for, I know what it takes, and planning to get the job done.
How would you say it compares to 2022? The world was kind of just resurfacing again from COVID. Do you think it's going to be a different experience based on what you've heard from previous folks who've competed in the Olympics?
I think it'll be a lot of fun just to have everybody there, have more of those fans and international spectators and people in the crowd, as well as especially having my family there. And they didn't get to come to 2022. So my older brother John competed in the 2018 Olympics. And I was going to try and compete in that Olympics, but unfortunately blew my ACL out that season, so wasn't able to compete. But I'm one of the few Olympic athletes that's ever gone to the Olympics as an athlete and as a spectator. I went in 2018, I watched John compete, I saw what that kind of vibe and the kind of energy that the crowd and having your family there can bring. And so I'm just excited to kind of experience that for myself in 2026. But having that crowd and having those people cheer for you and just being able to share that moment with people that helped you get there should be a lot of fun.
When it comes to the sport that you're competing in, there's a lot of reward for some of those risks that some of these athletes take. There's not a lot of room for error, I would say. How do you decide when to add difficulty to a jump or when to protect yourself in order to keep that consistency and make sure that you're kind of ranking where you want to be?
It's a calculated risk for sure. It's something that generally I'll go through with my coach, at the beginning of the week, just like what's our goals for this week? What are we trying to accomplish? Are we trying to, win a World Cup overall? Are we trying to win this competition no matter what? The thing that I love about the Olympics is that it makes all those choices incredibly simple. So sometimes when we're traveling on the World Cup tour and, we're at a site, maybe the weather's not right, maybe something's not quite there, and you might be kind of questioning whether I should push and add that degree of difficulty. Like you say, it's a risk, or back it off and try and focus on execution a little bit more. The Olympics, you don't got to make those choices. You just go all gas, no brake, throw the biggest trick you can and hope you put it down and take home a medal. So it gets simple when those big competitions and those big moments come up.
Obviously, training matters. What separates a solid jump, maybe something that you're doing today, compared to something that we would see on the world stage?
There's a lot when it comes into aerial skiing, and when we're traveling from different venue, is that the dimensions of the jumps change, the in-run changes, how long the flat part before the jump, we call it the table, how long that is, what the jump feels like, what the landing hill feels like. And so those first couple days of training, you're just really trying to adjust to that. And so that way when the competition comes around, you're kind of finely tuned and ready to react. Some of those big moments, competitive moments, they're really more, I'd say they're 20% mental and 80% you just got to trust your ability and all the training that you've done. And part of that is getting ready and just getting warmed up and getting used to everything. It helps you react just a little bit quicker. Experience definitely plays here in Lake Placid especially. It's a site that is dimensionally awesome, but some of the weather can be a little bit inconsistent, and just coming here and being here, you know, so many years, you know what it's like before you even get there. Some of those questions, you know, if I go compete in Kazakhstan or in the middle of, you know, somewhere I've never been before, those first couple days can really just be me analyzing and getting ready to go. But when I come home to a place like this where I've been for 10 years, I don't have any of those questions, and I can just kind of, it takes a little bit of that part out of it, and I just get to focus on other things and maybe be a little bit more intentional with my training.
What differentiates Lake Placid in terms of how you approach your jump, sharpen your jump?
Well, every venue is a little bit different. I think the thing that makes Lake Placid amazing to compete at is just that everything, you know, it's funny, every time I come here, it's a little bit different, but it's still in some ways the exact same. The people are the same. You have friends around, everybody's a friend. And some of those little things are, you know, it sounds like small things, but those are some of the things as an athlete that can really help you compete at your best. Just being comfortable in your environment. And so Lake Placid is a place that I feel extremely comfortable, and that just definitely helps me compete. You know, it's kind of hard to quantify how, you know, just being at a place that feels like home can really help athletes compete. But I just can't thank Lake Placid and the organization enough for putting together that extra start and giving us the, you know, full slate of World Cups to compete for the Olympics that we're supposed to have.
All of the athletes are here to train, kind of pushing for the same goal, to get those qualifications in order to compete on the world stage. What are some of the things that keep you the most motivated on the toughest days, even when we're thinking about the weather, for instance? You know, we're sitting inside today because we're seeing some rain out there. What keeps you motivated?
I don't know. The Olympics are, I always look at them each as their own 4-year project and journey. And so, you know, the interesting thing is, like I said earlier, I attempted to compete in 2018, had an injury, wasn't able to do that. Went in 2022, now I'm hoping and looking good to go compete in 2026. And the biggest thing that comes to mind is that I'm a different person every 4 years. You know, a 27-year-old me is a lot different than 23-year-old me and that 19-year-old me was. And, you know, you're kind of a different person, but the big thing is the goal stays the same. And that's what gets me up every morning. That's what like keeps me motivated regardless of what adversity or things that we're dealing with, is that, you know, that 7 seconds of, you know, performing for your country and landing in the Olympics, it's worth 4 years of anything that you might have to go through to get there. And I think all the athletes in this event, whether they're from different countries or from the US, are kind of dealing with that right now. How do I get there? And it's all just this, you know, kind of almost, I want to say like an odyssey, where you're just kind of going through it and you're kind of willing to go through anything, and you're just hoping that you're going to come out the other end, get your 7 seconds, and being able to go put one down for your country.
Now, if everything does come together in 2026, which we all hope it does, what do you want folks to remember most about your journey from now being at the Games previously, going through that injury before? What do you want folks to know about you?
I guess that, you know, the only thing you got to know about me is that I'm going to give it all I got. That's, you know, it kind of sounds like a cliche, but for me it's true. I've had injuries, I've had personal, you know, loss, I've had, you know, different things that I've gone throughout, at this point, what is now a over 10-year career on World Cup, and, you know, coming up on 20 years of competitive skiing. But when you see me out there, just know that I'm giving it all I got, and yeah, I'm just happy for the opportunity to go represent. I think the biggest thing that makes the Olympics so special is that it's the time when the whole world's watching and you get to go represent your country, you know, go represent the United States.
And at last check, freestyle skier Chris Lillis has qualified for the 2026 Games. That's according to Team USA's website. The gold medalist is eyeing a spot on the podium and another medal. He also tells me he's excited to have his friends and family alongside him as he represents Team USA on the world stage. The official roster for Team USA Ski and Snowboard will be announced on Tuesday, January 20th.